There's some people that still confuse spirituality with religion. How do you separate the two when a client comes to you?
Okay. Well, really, it's about the person that I'm working with. What I do, part of my initial assessment with them is really understanding their understanding of the connection between spirituality and religion and how they feel about religion and spirituality. I do a lot of assessment with them to understand that, because then the work that I'm going to do with them is going to be based on their understanding. So I've worked with people who are born again Christians, and totally their spirituality is filtered through that. And then I work with other people who don't have any particular religious understanding. And some people I work with, we're building their spiritual understanding, and that's part of our work together. So it's really based on the person I'm working with.
Wow. Now, going back to grad school, that's where I am, so I really want to know more. I know you said it was a dual program, an MS and PhD.
Yes.
In LIU. So how was it? What was your dissertation? How did you manage that? How was the entire experience as a grad student?
All right, so let me say a few things about that. I strongly recommend that people try to get into a PhD program, a dual program, from the beginning, because I know a lot of people go and get a master's and then they go to get the PhD. But when you go to get your master's first, very often in a PhD program, they only accept a few credits. So you might end up getting, 1 or 2 classes waived, but you're basically doing their whole program.
Yep.
Well, I suggest that if you can, and this is one of those pearls of wisdom that, fortunately, this is one of the few things somebody told me and that I follow. But I find that a lot of the students that I've met along the way, especially the students that are in master's programs, didn't realize that they could go straight for a PhD program. And the thing
I am one of them right now.
See? Okay. And even if you don't get in, because it is very, very competitive, but to go straight for the PhD, if you go for the master's, or if you go for the master's program in this, the same PhD school that you want to go to, you can still apply the next year. You don't have to finish the master's. The fact that you've done a year makes you a stronger candidate. So you can still apply for the PhD program and not complete the master's. And again, if you don't get in, then you complete the master's and then, you keep going. But often applying more than once makes you a stronger candidate also, because they see that you are really interested in pursuing this. You're really interested in school. You have tenacity, right? You're coming back again. Sometimes you can get information, sometimes you can't, but you might be able to get information to help you understand why weren't you picked this time. Sometimes you weren't picked just because there were better people than, people who looked more qualified on paper than you, or looked like they would fit with that program better than you. Sometimes it's about something that you can do to beef up your application. So maybe you need to work with somebody that's doing more research or whatever. But going through the process of applying can help you find those things out. So even if you don't get in, it can make you a stronger candidate next time. It can give you an opportunity to really understand the school you're applying to. And this is the thing that I said that I didn't do. I went to the place that gave me the most money.
Yeah.
But I think it is better if you really look for some place where you think you'll be a good fit. And you think that they will provide you the kind of education that you're looking for. So I strongly suggest that you do that. And in saying all that, though, I forgot the question. What was the question?
It's your journey throughout grad school.
Okay. So more about my journey. It was really challenging. It was really challenging to be young and Black and clueless half the time. There were times I remember in statistics. First semester I took statistics, I did well. I understood what the teacher was saying, no problem. The second semester I took statistics, it seemed like he was talking Greek this time. I didn't know what he was saying. I wasn't doing well. And I didn't know that the other students were getting together for study groups and not inviting me.
Wow.
So, I thought that I got along pretty well with the rest of the class. So there wasn't anything overt, but they were getting together for study groups. I didn't know about it. And it was my reaction, because I was young. When I was failing that class, and I had a meeting with the teacher, and I can't remember, I think he offered me an opportunity to take the test again. And in my very young way, I said, well, I don't know if that's going to really help because I'm going to need this information for when I do my dissertation, and I didn't learn anything.
Oh.
So I got branded as the angry Black woman at that point because I really wanted to learn statistics, and I knew I was capable because I got an A the first semester and I understood everything the first semester. So I knew that it wasn't my inability to do statistics. I knew that there was something not happening here, but I got in trouble for being too honest about that. I should have just shut up and taken the test again. So ultimately what I learned is that in such situations, you do have to pick your battles and you have to decide really what's worth it, because in the end, you want to get your degree so that you can do whatever you want. And when you get your degree, you can do whatever you want. So when a battle came up later, I was pregnant at the end of graduate school, and I had been working as I'd been teaching in the department. But when they found that I was pregnant, the person who was the director at the time wouldn't let me teach a class. And of course, that's the kind of thing that I probably could have sued for, because, you know, you can't stop somebody when I'd already been teaching. You can't stop them because they're pregnant. You know, the plan was to have the baby. And I would have made, if I was any other faculty member, he wouldn't have been able to stop me. And any other faculty member would have done what they needed to do to make sure that the class continued, right? Yeah. So I decided, though, that that wasn't a battle worth fighting because I really wanted to get my degree. And I was concerned that if I did fight that battle, I wouldn't. And ultimately, I've got my degree and I've done everything I've wanted to with it. What I've always wanted to do was work for myself, so I'm doing that. But there were quite a few battles and challenges. And in retrospect, I probably should have leaned more on the people at AB side that would have been able to help me. But, I was, I think, in some ways too young and naive to even think of that. Yeah, but to ask, just to have a sounding board, you know, to have someone to talk to. I probably could have done that more, but I didn't. And that is something that would have made it a lot easier, I think, if I'd reached out more, just to talk things through with somebody. So now I strive to be that kind of mentor for the students that have worked with me. I have interns that work with me at Brooklyn Job Corps, and I keep in touch with them, and I'm willing to talk those kinds of things out and help them think through things, you know, with the wisdom that I have.
Now I'm wishing I am your intern, but we'll see. And so so navigating through grad school with like minimal people of color, were faculty not of color as well?
Yes, there was only one faculty member of color, and as I said, she was half the time she was away doing some project in Africa. And so the only class I took with her was the one elective. The only class on culture was an elective.
Cross-cultural.
And it was an elective. I couldn't believe it. It's like, how could this be an elective? Wow. This is the New York City school where everybody's got to go on internship someplace here in New York City where there are people of color, but yet this was an elective. And that's the one class I took with her. But other than that, we didn't really have any contact.
I can't imagine. That's insane.
Yeah. But as I said, the person who did end up being my mentor, although she was a Caucasian woman, she was very
culturally competent, you say?
There we go. And yeah, and I'd say I don't always like the term culturally competent, because I want somebody that's more than just competent, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, she was definitely culturally open. I don't know if I have an alternate term than competent, but she was definitely culturally minded. There we go. She was culturally minded. She understood the importance of culture, which is why she brought psychologists of color to come speak at the college. And so I enjoyed working with her, and I felt comfortable working with her.
Wow, that's amazing to hear. I wish I have the same. But okay.
But I think that it's important, if you don't have it in your institution, to reach out, just like you reached out to me, to reach out and find somebody that you can talk to join an organization like the Association of Black Psychologists, so that you can find a mentor that it doesn't have to be somebody at your institution. And sometimes it's better to have them not be at your institution.
Yeah.
But to find that kind of support, I think, is really important.
I mean, my school does. I think we do have a mentor-mentee support thing going on, but it's very limited. So I'll look back into it. So about your internship, how did you decide? I mean, I know you said you liked working. You wanted to do early childhood, but for your internship, you worked at the homeless at Governor/Bellevue.
I would say yes. Go.
How did you decide to do that? How did you even get that in the first place?
Well, way back when, and it was quite a long time ago. I'm trying to remember the process. There was like a list of places that there was a book. Now it's would be all on the internet, but back then there was a book, and you went through the book and you looked at the descriptions of the different places, and then decided from there which places you wanted to apply to. And so I applied to a number of places. You went for interviews, and the interviews were, although they were interviewing you, you also wanted to know more about the places. And then it was a crazy day, because I remember this day because my daughter was little and I had the phone in my pocket. So you called. Now I know there's some matchup system or whatever, but back in my day, they called you. And it was this process of you want to say yes to your first choice, but you didn't want to say no to a place that was like your second choice, because your first choice might call you, or so it was a crazy system. I don't know if the matchup system that they do now it's smoother, but it was a crazy system. So I remember walking around. I had my daughter at home all day, and I remember having the phone in my pocket, so that it was a cordless, one of the old cordless phones, because there wasn't cell phones. Yeah, I didn't even have a cell phone then. I didn't know cell phones were a thing then. So long ago. Wow.
Oh, man.
So the cordless phone in my pocket, waiting for the phone to ring, and I happened to get a call from my first choice. And so it was easy. So once they called, I said yes, and it was done. And I knew that Gouverneur was my first choice because I liked the opportunity to work with children and adults and to do all the rotations. They had so many different things, including doing the inpatient, where some of the places were predominantly inpatient, or predominantly children, or only children. I knew that this offered me the most variety, and that's what I wanted, because internships, one of those times when you get to try out different things.
Yeah.
If I had hated working with the homeless, drug addicted, that group, I would have only been doing it for a rotation, which was like 3 months. So you hate it, 3 months, you do it, you're done. But if you love it, again, I would have never known that I enjoyed it so much if I didn't have that opportunity. So it worked out that I got my first choice.